Welcome back to Comic Book Savant. I'm your host, James Harris. This episode, we're going to be doing a season review for The Flash. This is season 4, just finished up. So I wanted to talk about this season overall as a whole. Flash. The Flash. This show has so much potential, but it just really fell short. I just have to say, hands down, this is probably the weakest season of the series that they've had to date. I have some thoughts, but let me just break down. We've already had it announced that it's renewed for season 5, which is, I guess, good. I don't know necessarily how I feel about it. I love the cast of this show, but it was just so many missteps that was made throughout this season. I really liked certain cast additions or guest appearances they had by certain people, mainly Kim Engelbrecht, I hope I pronounced her name correctly, Hartley Sawyer as the Elongated Man. He was really phenomenal. He grew on me at first, but it's kind of how they made his character gruff and rough around the edges. But then by the end of the season, I really thought like he cemented himself as part of the cast, and I want to see more of his story continue going forward. And Katie Sackhoff as Black Amulet. She was so over the top and just so fun, but not over the top to the point that you feel like she's in a whole nother show as anyone else. But it was like skating that line. It was just really, really awesome. She really delivered, and that character's just so fun. And I liked her interactions with Killer Frost and Caitlin. Really like that dynamic, and I hope they bring her back more in future seasons and little guest spots here and there, because I think whenever she interacts, in the last episode they had her in for this season, how she interacted with the overall team, the Flash, I just thought was really good and more of what they need in the show. Now, on the opposite side of the show, I feel like they need to reduce some cast members. They took some, last season had a lot of different characters all over the place, but it seemed like with the threat that they had going on and them pulling in different people, they kind of needed that. I kind of felt like going into the season finale, which was by far the weakest season finale that the series has had to date, which is only, I guess, makes sense because it was one of the weakest seasons overall that the show has had, that it just landed flat, and it made me realize one thing. I loved Joe's character, Joe West. I love Cecile. I feel like it's really, they monopolized a lot of space and storytelling throughout the season with her getting pregnant and her having the baby with them. And I kind of feel like their characters on the show are just absorbing too much screen time that could go other places. Perfect example is I would have liked more time during the season to be dedicated to Cisco and what is his girlfriend's name? I can't remember what the girlfriend's name is. That it would have been dedicated to them, because it felt like we earlier in the season and in previous seasons was more build up to their relationship than it was kind of we need to get back to it, and it was always rushed and we didn't have it fleshed out. And they had the major plot point where the father has to retire, and he asked him to take over. She didn't want him to take over, and that was a plot, and it just seemed rushed. And I wish more on-screen time was dedicated to their relationship and them breaking up. It wasn't. I felt like it hurt the show overall. Because I liked them as a couple, and I kind of wanted to see him take the position, or him leave the team for a while to work on that relationship and have it like as a kind of side story. Because I really like, and I feel like Carlos Valdez, he's been the MVP of the show for like the past 2 seasons as really being like the heart and soul of the team. And I would have really enjoyed to see him like take some time for himself in the pursuit, because he really loved her, to pursue that and her feeling the same way. Because he always seems when he finds that girl he likes, he comes up on the short end of the stick of it. And it was not that she didn't love him back in return, but she loved her job more and realized on her earth, especially with her father having to retire because he lost his powers, that she had to take on even more responsibility. So she chose the job over the guy. And it was really kind of heartbreaking. It'll be interesting to see where that will go. But I feel like that Joe and Cecile's storyline, now parts of it, don't get me wrong, was very entertaining, with her developing the powers of reading people's minds while she was pregnant, and her with Harrison Wells in those episodes, they were like fun, but just overall, I don't see how they fit into the scheme. And then you got this new baby running around, like little baby. I don't want to see that in my Flash superhero, my Flash television show or a superhero show. Like, oh, now we got this cute little baby. I don't care. I don't want to see that in Flash. So, as much as I love those two actors and I want them to work, I hope they kind of take a lot of they just are off screen a lot more next season, because I felt like more could have been put into the other storylines for the other cast members. Wally has left and he's on Legends of Tomorrow, which I think will be a good fit to help build his character up more. They took Elongated Man off the board for a couple of episodes, but in the finale, they brought him back. So he's back a part of the team, which is good, because he was one of the really good additions to the main team that we had. But Joe and Cecile politely just kind of sweep them off to the side going into the next season to get back to the core of the show, because I feel like they were so off base, and the Thinker as a villain they try to make him the season-long villain, and his story didn't last that long, and it really felt like they stretched it out, and he didn't have the momentum to carry through the whole season. Like I said, now Kim Engelbrecht as Marlise DeVoe, I really liked her. She helped kind of stabilize the parts that the storyline. I don't think the actor was weak that played Clifford DeVoe, Neil Sandilands. I think he was great, but his story wasn't long enough to fill the whole season. So they could have borrowed from Arrow and kind of had a co-villain narrative to the season. And then what he was trying to do was it was just kind of weak, and it just fell flat. I tried to stay invested. I watched all the episodes, but it was just, at points, it was just really tough to get through, in all honesty. I can't lie about it. This was a tough season to watch. Overall, I would have to, if I'm rating this, I would have to give this a 6.5 out of 10. It's definitely one of the worst seasons of Flash. Ranking the seasons, I would say season 3 was the worst. Then this season 4, season 2, and then season 1 is still by far, hands down, the best season of the show to date. They have a lot of work to do. I'm like in the first time in a long time going into the new season. I don't know how vested I am to even watch it. I mean, I am, because I've been covering these shows pretty much from their inception to this point, through my audio podcast and through the YouTube channel since I've had this started up. So I will continue probably till they're canceled. But for the first time, I'm not looking forward to it going into it. And one thing I really disliked as well that I want to speak on before I close out this video is the daughter showing up, helping Barry at the end, and then she comes and she's like, oh, I think I did something really wrong. We've seen Barry do it so many times. And they really leaned on time travel like way too much in this show. So I don't look forward to, okay, someone else has altered the timeline, another speedster, and this time, oh, it wasn't Barry, but it's his kid. Well, as many times as he's done it and the repercussions that came from it, why would she be dumb enough to do it? Why wouldn't he have taught her better? And that is disastrous repercussions and backlash that can come from it. But that was just, we've seen it so many times, and it has me even more down for what we have in store for next season. But that's all I have for you in this video. Again, the show has room for improvement. I will see you guys next time for another episode of Comic Book Savant. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Click on the bell notification to be alerted for new episodes. And I'll see you for the next episode for Comic Book Savant. Take care, and I'll see you soon.